Good evening. It is August 20th, 2024. I'm Glenda Carlin. Welcome to my weekly A Course in Miracles and Dzogchen Buddhism Zoom meeting. For those that can't come live, of course, I recorded and posted on my YouTube channel, which is, Glenda Carlin, Course in Miracles YouTube channel, real original. Like Barbie said, in 2 weeks, it'll be Labor Day. It's back to school. Then it's going to be fall. And last night, we had not just the full moon, the blue moon. And I kind of briefly read about that. Next one will happen in 10 years. So this whole illusion, this whole realm that the Son of God made or created, it's based on change, which is hard for us beings to accept because we'd like to live forever. We don't want our loved ones to pass. We don't want to get sick. Somewhere in the Course, Jesus says, be not deceived, by the beings that grow old, are sick, suffer, and die. I mean, really. He just puts it all in that one big line like that. Because it's an illusion. Our eternal self is spirit, God, light, love, divine love, and infinite spaciousness. Now, I invite in Holy Spirit, Jesus, Buddha, enlightened beings, ascended masters. They're always here, but we invite them in. I invite them in, guide me what to do or say, and help those here have insights that will help them awaken from this illusion, dreamlike state. Why it's not a total dream is that this spirit that we are, God's spirit, is permanent. It doesn't change. Our absolute reality does not change. Heaven does not change. But everything else is dreamlike. It comes and goes. The topic of tonight's teaching is, and I'm going to really use my notes because so much is going on here, but the topic is, I was experiencing withdrawal from being addicted to my body and bodies in general. And then I did feel, I got some relief and felt the great ray vertically come in from the top of my head down to my toes, this wave of light. It's like an invisible line that comes down and off. This time I experienced it where the light came off of that center off each side. It just went, the left side went left, the right side went right, and it just like waves that went back and forth to wash and clean my body, because I hadn't thought about it. Now, Terry says she's late or may not be here to see, but she's a holistic healer. And I hadn't really thought about it, but I've been experiencing needing to breathe through trauma in the physical body based on life experiences, the things that happen to us in our life. And then also our beliefs, our habits, our conditioning, that we think the same things over and over again. And so they lay in various organs, cells, chakras. I don't know about this. All I know is that these beliefs, trauma, lay in our organs and on our shell. And part of the awakening is we're letting go of these obscurations, these beliefs that we're a body. And I was just saying, Terry's here, thank you, Terry, about you're a holistic healer, and that I'm just now recognizing how the body and mind and all the organs and chakras hold this trauma, physical trauma. Maybe if Terry will, Carrie, you want to comment on that before I go any further or not? But you clear
Good
it.
evening. Bear with me. I'm just hopping on. I'm a little bit late coming home from work. So what happens is our thoughts is what causes our misery. But what happens is things the way they take place in the body, and I didn't get to hear what Glenda said before, what I'm going to share with you all, is that thoughts become feelings, feelings become emotions, and emotions get stuck in the body. So if we have an issue where we are, let's say we have arthritis, or that is an anger issue, the way the body sees it. The liver also holds anger. The kidneys hold fear. So all of the organs hold these different emotions. So as we become enlightened, or we forgive everyone that's ever hurt us, we can start through these emotions and through the chakras, which Glenda's already shared, they're energy centers that spin. So let's say you've been holding anger toward your father for 40 years, and then you find that Jesus' forgiveness to him, you will start noticing a lessening of anger in your liver. Your cholesterol will lower. You'll start feeling better, and your whole body will just start to, I guess, stabilize. Does that make sense? Is that what you were wanting, Glenda? Because I
Well,
didn't.
just how, well, no, I wanted your take on it because I'm getting understanding that'll help me, but that, thank you so much. Because see, that I hadn't thought about. And what I'm wanting to share tonight is, now she actually does like Reiki or healing on people. But what I'm learning to do, or what came naturally to me to do, was to breathe through, to breathe in and out of where I felt nervous. Because see, but I want to go back just a minute, is that I had no idea how deep the addiction is that's stored all through our form, that we're a body, that we are a physical body versus we're spirit light, that the Course teaches us and Dzogchen teaches we're spirit and light. But I don't recommend that we think about the depth of all this, because it's going to get unveiled and released at the speed and time that each person needs to release whatever it is. But one of the main things is this forgiveness, advanced forgiveness, where we're thinking about any person that we think's ever harmed us, or that we think we've ever harmed. And we're practicing letting go, letting be, and saying, I love you, please forgive me for what I did. I didn't know what I was doing. And see, we're letting go, letting go, letting go. But anyway, why this came up about a body addiction, which I didn't know I had. I just thought, oh, just a body. We just think we're a body. Is I was supposed to meet up with a family member, a loved one, and it's not working out. And I was surprised about how I felt upset by that. And so where I was clinging to wanting to be with that person, because as we awaken, one of the big deals is we become aware of our thoughts, feelings. We're aware of what's happening around us. We're no longer sleepwalking as much. We're alert and awake. So then we can let these thoughts and feelings go, or be guided by spirit what we're to do. So I knew this was I had clinging, because see, in A Course in Miracles, Jesus doesn't call it clinging, but it's thoughts. Just like Terry said, our thoughts become our beliefs, then habits, then we repeat that thing over and over for habitual habit patterns. We dig ditches and ruts, and we live in those ruts. We live on that gerbil wheel, doing that same thing over and over again. Well, but see, that what I'm talking about here is a basic deal, that we're a body. So anyway, this was like last Friday, and I recognized there was an issue. So Friday night, here, I'm going to just read my notes, is I knew enough that I fall back on some big basics of calling out everything as God, because that's what everything, there's only God. So I'm calling out God, 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 and I'm saying, I love you, you know, to the person I can't be with, and myself, etc. then, the Course in Miracles says this is Course in Mind training. And so then I go to my mind to reason with myself because I'm feeling feelings, etc. So I reason with myself and say things, there's no good or bad, and no acceptance or rejection. And I was feeling a little better. And then I'd tell myself, like I tell you guys, take your Buddha seat, just plant yourself, stand firm with your feet and your legs and sit like a pyramid, like firm, stable. So I did that. And then, let's see, I'm writing here, I'm looking. Then I realized when I was rehashing anything, I just let that go. But then it came to me to say something I hadn't said for a few years, is the phrase, all of it. And that's something that I learned from Gary Renard's, one of his books, I forget which one, where the Ascended Master said, if you practice thinking about that people are all of it, you will be doing something very few people in history have ever done. So I just, for matter of factly, started silently saying all of it to everything that I could remember to him, from my face and out in my mind. And I forget how long that went on, but I've told y'all before, but it's worth repeating here because it's a benefit about this body identification. This was 2014. I make notes of these significant things. I got enough guts up to ask Holy Spirit, what does saying all of it mean? Because I didn't know what it meant. I just had faith, saying, it instinctively felt okay to do. Now, of course, you're always investigating and double checking stuff, what I say, etc., to see if it works for you. But Holy Spirit, I will never forget this. Holy Spirit says, when something is all of it, there's nothing else. I was sitting on this little couch at my one of my old houses, and I broke down crying because I knew what that meant. There's nobody out there. There are no bodies, BODIES. There's, when something's all of it, there means there's nothing else. Well, then I searched A Course in Miracles, and Jesus says something like, there's nothing outside of you. That is what you must ultimately learn, for it's the realization that the kingdom of heaven has been restored to you. There's nothing outside of you. Well, let me tell you, both those things are like they'll just blow your socks off, and you just take them how you can. But I knew that I wasn't ready to let go of all those bodies because I broke down crying. I knew I couldn't, I wouldn't. But anyway, so now let's look. This is 2024. We're 10 years later, folks. 10 years later. And it was, here comes Debbie. So here it is. And I've been, that advanced forgiveness, that document that I wrote and give out once in a while. In it, it talks about saying to people around you, you are spirit, whole, pure, and innocent. All is forgiven and released. Well, heck, if you thought about, and might want to, what all those words mean, you are spirit. Doesn't say you're a body. And in A Course in Miracles, he says, I'm not a body, I am free, for I'm still as God created me. Well, what the hey are we? We are this free-flowing spirit, this God spirit, this clear light. Well, we're divine love is the bottom line. We're love, but there's this prana light energy that animates the form. We're light energy, but we're love. But see, you can't see any of that. It's spirit, and it's a spaciousness, spacious, spacious, spacious. Now picture this, what we are, our reality is vaster than all the universes, because the universes are projections in God's mind. So God's mind encompasses them all. And that's our projections are in that, right? So we are spaciousness, vast, vast, vast spaciousness. Well, anyway, so, so I'm just telling you what I was doing. So I was saying all of it. Let's see what page I'm on. Then let's go here. So see, that's Friday night. So Friday night, I'm reasoning by myself and seeing things on TV and in my house going, oh, those are projections in the clear light mind, reflective radiance, meaning this creative spirit can manifest anything, project anything. So all these forms are projections on the clear light mind, in the clear light mind. So I'm reasoning by myself, etc. And about that there's nobody out there. There's nobody out there. These are projections in God's mind, in our mind, in our collective mind. So that's Friday night. So Saturday, throughout Friday afternoon and night, off and on, that's how I do stuff. I wake up and then I'm practicing. You're all probably doing the same thing because it just comes to you. Holy Spirit works with you. And you're just softening, you're relaxing into this divine guidance, and the Holy Spirit works with you. Jesus, Buddha, Enlightened Beings, they all just working with you. So, but Saturday morning about 10 o'clock, I realized I felt anxious. Now I invited Nance. I did Nance a note here because this girl realizes she has panic attacks and anxiety. And so years ago, when I was in my youth and earlier years and first years when I worked with my husband in our business, I had panic attacks and went to a psychologist, took depressants, to cope with this stuff, right? Talked to a psychologist. I still recommend psychologist, except we don't want to waller in this stuff. You want to be aware if you're just repeating these stories versus getting some healing and letting go of things. But anyway, I found let's see where it is. This Lama Surya Das post. I pay attention to stuff that I'm guided to read. And here's one that's talking about why we have fear and panic. See, I was feeling anxious. Now, I hadn't got so far that I had a panic attack, but I couldn't quite breathe deep. It was shallow and my stomach was upset. And I felt a pit in the bottom of my stomach. And the pit, all I could identify it seemed like a solid ball of something. So I'm breathing in and out of this. Breathing in. Now, I don't know, I apologize, the word for this in Buddhism, but it's when you breathe into something, darkness or pain or whatever it is, you breathe in. And what you're doing, you're breathing in the darkness. You're taking the darkness in, but you want to release it. You don't want to hold this. Then on my exhalation, I was breathing it out, releasing and seeing this clear light. So I was breathing in my pain or anxiety and breathing it out, in and out. My organs, the bottom of my stomach, just whatever I sensed to do. But here's what this holy being that's named THRANGU, Rinpoche, wrote about this. Excuse me. Here's a quote. It's about 3 little tiny paragraphs. What is recognized through the practice of insight meditation, called insight meditation, is that in its nature, your mind is without birth or origination and is without substantial existence of any kind. So with insight meditation and this whole Course in Miracles is getting you to identify what's the nature of your mind. And in reality, that's become what your identity is. Know thyself, Jesus says. But anyway, this is what Rinpoche says. And he's saying, when you do insight meditation, you'll learn the nature of the mind. And the nature of the mind is unborn, has no birth, no origination, and without substantial existence. Means you can't point at it. You can't find it because it's vast spaciousness, clear light of any kind. This recognition frees you from the fear that would otherwise be produced by the appearances of the bardo. Now, a bardo means just a gap. Like when you're born, the time we're born, and then the time we die in this lifetime, this is a bardo. But now this morning, when you wake up, tonight when you go to sleep, this is a gap. This is a bardo. From the time this meeting starts till it ends, it's a gap. And when you want to really get down to stuff, there's a gap between breathing, in breath, out breath. And if you pause, you're going to find that gap of this spaciousness of your true identity. But anyway, and gap between thoughts. That's why things slow down as you meditate and do these practices. The monkey mind, the chatter, tends to slow down. It's never going to stop, but it slows down. But anyway, we're going to recognize, because this mind is spacious, no substantial quality, it frees us from fear, from us seeing appearances that show up in that mind. I'm going to keep going. Having recognized the nature of your mind, you recognize that the only thing to fear in this bardo, this gap, this life, is the panic, the fear, and the suffering that the mind experiences upon encountering its own appearances. And that's what Terry was talking about. Its own appearances, its own thoughts, its own emotions, its own habits. That's when and so see, my habit, I was identifying, I never got this deep. I had a deep addiction, unconscious addiction to be in a body. But then I realized this isn't just me. This is everybody. This is everybody. And so then here's the final thing he says. You recognize that this fear and panic arise simply because you have no control over your mind. If you understand this, and if you resolve to take control or gain control of your mind, then through practicing this insight, or VIPASHYANA, you can gain control of your mind and thereby be free from any kind of fear that would otherwise arise when the mind experiences its own projections. So this whole Course in Miracles is, Jesus tells it, is a course in mind training. You're learning, but this is worth repeating, folks. We're learning to control this mind in that, or be aware of this mind. Now, the thing I learned by breathing in and out of this addiction of the body is I had to be careful to not resist it, not resist and push it away. I didn't want it. I didn't want the addiction of thinking I was a body. So see, now that's called aversion. But see, this all gets so subtle in the mind, because what I teach you all is to let these thoughts, feelings, perceptions come and go on this clear light mind. Let them come and let them go. Let them come and go. And we're letting them come and go, and we just be, which means you lean back and you just kind of rest. You just kind of rest. And you're an awareness that's aware of these thoughts coming and going. And you become aware when you grab onto one and when you push them away. But the subtlest one is getting rid of something. You think you're just letting something go, but underneath you're really like, damn, I don't want any of that. I don't want. And so I had to admit, and see, and that's in that beginning of that email. Let's see what this. I had to see that I really had to be honest with myself and identify that I had expectations on other people's bodies. and also on my own. And see, that's not letting things come and go. And be, now that doesn't mean you can't have boundaries, talk to people about things, call 911 if there's a problem. But what I'm talking about is actually being aware when we expect people to change or be with us and they're not going to be with us, etc. Okay, but anyway, now this is for, I want to come back here. Oh, so, okay, so then my stomach's upset, I'm having to visit the bathroom, I'm nauseous, and it hits me, I'm having withdrawal. I'm not kidding you. This is withdrawal. I didn't eat bad food. No, no, no. I didn't have a cold. I didn't have flu. This was withdrawal because I was looking at the body and letting it go. And my attachment to it, and the body didn't want to be let go of. It's used to us clinging to it, not just letting it freely be there. So, okay, so let's see. So then I was breathing in about all this, getting up and going to the restroom a lot. But 3 hours this went on, folks. Okay. But then I was sitting in my chair and I leaned back with my recliner. I can go back flat. And I was just kind of breathing in and out. And what happened was this happened naturally. But see, you all can visualize it because I visualized the Great Ray for years before anything happened. So we visualize our reality. But what happened, there was like this invisible center line came down from the top of my head through my torso. It was I knew it was a straight invisible line, but what was different was the light that, and I this is really squirrely. Didn't identify it as a Great Ray at that time. It was only 2 days later because it was just unique. It was this still invisible line. And I recognized that's the still axis point, the stillness. But anyway, it was just like this invisible line. But picture on the left, so on the left of my body, the light would go left, but at the same time, off this center line, the light would go right. And it would go in, it would like night breathing goes in and out, but this light would go back and forth vertically through the form out past like my arms, back and forth. And I knew what it was doing because I've talked to you all about this before. The light washes and cleans these thoughts that we hold in our body and in our mind, in our heart. And so it's cleaning, it's washing, and I'm picturing, man, it's going through all my organs because I had identified I'm addicted to the body. So I recognize it's helping me. It's cleaning my organs. It's of this addiction, this thought I'm a body, my cells, my chakras, and it's cleaning the layers of thoughts and obscurations of darkness that block the light being able to come out, being radiating naturally, right? So, but then it came to me is how to think of this, where it's cleaning. It came to me, the navel picture, even just this lifetime, the navel's where the umbilical cord is. That's the attachment to how we're born in this life. And then when they cut it and you're in this life. But that navel area is a trauma area because it's cut, we're born, we're etc. But even if I believe in reincarnation, but just this lifetime is a hard enough trauma. But picture lifetime after lifetime. Jesus says, this will save you thousands of years. All those lifetimes of birth with umbilical cords, the navel really has a lot of a body identification. You're born into this body. Then it started, but the bottom of my stomach, though that area, I forget all the chakras that are there, sacral and root chakra. But picture also, that's where the sex organs are. And picture what's a huger, more identification that we're a body, but through the years by making love, having sex, that reaffirms we're bodies. With physical bodies meeting each other, and the emotion of it, and maybe the heartbreak of it. All this, I don't mean to be dramatic, but I'm not kidding you. That stuff's stored. So you can ask Holy Spirit help you, because this will help relieve stress and trauma, and relieve thoughts that will make you feel less anxious and help you feel less attached to this body, to be free, because you are not a body, you are free. So anyway, that is all going on. So then after that was going on, that happened, this light that was going back and forth lightly, it became great waves, like ocean waves, moving vertically, just washing, big vertical waves of clear light, cleaning. And that went on 35 minutes, because I looked at the clock. I like to know stuff like this. And then when I stood up, I could, and later, even today, I can feel this still center, and the light is quietly moving back and forth. Because see, it's getting freed up. My light, your light, is getting freed up. And all your light freedom is helping all sentient beings. This is helping everybody. And I'm going to keep going here. That's page 4. Let's see if I can get to something. Page 5. What happened here? This was, I already talked about that. Rest in the view. Okay, now this is another truth to just leave it wherever it is, or sit with it, or investigate it. Picture this light. We have an internal light. That's our Buddha light, or Christ light. But it's been confined. It's been obstructed in the body. But what, by us releasing it, it getting released, that's called in Buddhism child luminosity, but really it could be called your Christ nature, your Christ light, your Buddha light, has been trapped inside this form. And when it's released, it joins up with the creator, the mother luminosity, which seems to be outside the body, because we've made this body and we've trapped this light inside here. But this joining of child and mother happens where there's union of the light. There's no longer separation. So you can even visualize that, because this is there's union's a word for it, but where there's no separation between your Christ nature light and your big God light, But anyway, that was going on. And I would practice relaxing in God's presence. And this came up. I was speaking with somebody, I forget who, and I realized I got a feeling for how to rest in God's presence, how to lean back and rest. Because the deal is, just rest your weary heart and mind from all this doing. Let these thoughts and emotions come and go on the clear mind, on the mind, and just rest, just be. And it's called in the view, or means in the presence of God, in God's presence. Well, if you don't know what that feels like, is just imagine there's a huge down pillow, these fluffy down pillows that's as tall as your body and wide as your body. And it's all along the back of you. And as you lean back, because this is part of this teaching tonight, when we're real caught up in the drama and in that thoughts and emotions, we are like leaning forward. We are focused. We are concentrating on an item. And we've jammed thoughts and feelings in this skull, and we're like a cup. We're just, we're concentrating. Well, I'm asking you, lean back, you relax, breathe, smile, relax, feel that light, but lean back into that fluffy God pillow. I'm not kidding you. Just snuggle down, relax. Take a deep breath, exhale, go, like you've done a hard day's work and you've come home and you just lean back in this guide pillow and just rest there. Just rest. And then while you're resting, be aware thoughts are going to show up and feelings. And this practice is to let them come and go without having attachment or aversion. It's practice. Other times, we walk around, we got to look at our thoughts. We got to drive the car. But I'm talking about times to rest. Anyway, all right, that's that. But now I want to cover another post that's going to help with this of Lama Surya Das's. That was 19th. That was yesterday. And I wanted to find, Scott deals with, is called 5 Skandhas. I hope I'm saying that right. Skandhas. And I Googled, what does skandha mean? And it means, in quotes, heaps, collections, aggregates, groupings. In Buddhism, it refers to the 5 aggregates of clinging. Now, that's why with the Course in Miracles, I couldn't quite get what the whole deal was. But there's 5 major things, groupings of things we cling to, and that helps me identify what my mind's doing. Then I can let go easier. I'm not just caught up in the drama of this stuff and wallowing in it. But those are form. Let's see if I can find mine. When I'm talking to you, I kind of forget. Feelings, perceptions, impulses, consciousness. These are 5 groups of things we cling to that cause suffering. And so here's what this holy person said. This is 4A. And this holy person's name is Seungsashn. And why this is important, it helped me realize what we've done. So picture our reality is this vast, we can't even picture how vast of spaciousness of spirit we are. But when we decided to experience being in a form, guess what we did? We took our vast spaciousness and crammed it into a little tiny form. You with me? Took our spaciousness, and I even now picture cram it into a skull or use the word cup because that helps. It's crammed in there, our spaciousness. And then with that spaciousness, we have these clinging thoughts that we jam in there with it. Thoughts, feelings, they all get jammed in this. Let's just picture just your damn head, that you just cram all that stuff in there. And then before you know it, there's a feeling. You have a feeling, then we got a thought. Then we have a feeling, then we have a thought. And it builds on itself like a gerbil wheel. It's just jamming up. And so picture, no wonder people feel claustrophobic, panicked, anxious. They don't know what they are, and their vast spaciousness is crammed in this little space. So that's why we meditate, we breathe, smile, and relax. You get some little gaps. You get some little moments where you experience spaciousness, openness, love, divine love, and you go, woo, woo, I'm not just a body. Woo, and you breathe and you go back and forth. You're expanding. You're not claustrophobic. You're coming out of that, whatever, you all get it. Here's the thing. Here's what this guy says. Here is a holy being. Here's a cup of orange juice. If you have cup in quotes, see, Jesus in A Course in Miracles, he asked you in one of those beginning lessons, you got a cup? Here's a cup. Who says that's a cup? Who put that meaning that's a cup? Well, because you made it be a cup. It could be anything, right? Right. Anyway, we're going to picture we got a cup because it's small. We're going to have a little cup. We're not got a mug. We got a cup. If you have a cup, then you can keep this orange juice here in that cup, right? But if this cup breaks, how can the orange juice remain? You cannot keep the juice there, yeah? Suffering is the same as that. Where does suffering abide? If you are attached to the five skandhas and they are form, feelings, perceptions, impulses. See, the five senses are impulses, impulse stimuli, sight, smell, taste, hearing, touch, and then consciousness, conscious of subject object. Then suffering has a place to stay. Once we get attached to a form, like I was attached to that family member, that went right the hell into this little cup. And then my thoughts and feelings went back and forth, squashed around in there. And I made suffering for myself. And then this man goes on. But the Heart Sutra shows the view that these five skandhas are empty. Mind is completely empty. Where can suffering possibly stay? Now, by empty, what it means in Buddhism, it means it's full of God's spirit, full of God love, completeness. Empty means that, but then it means it's spacious. So the mind is spacious, but also these forms, feelings, perceptions, impulses, they're made up of space. They're nothing but space because we created them out of energy and space. And that's why quantum physics says all these forms that are walking around out here, they're just space. It's a virtual world. They're just space in between all these neutrons, protons, and quarks, and there's no definite thing. And you think about something in space, it'll damn change because you thought about it. Because the mind has power and it's thing. But anyway, the mind is spacious, but it's a huge deal to realize forms, feelings, perceptions, they're space. They're not tangible, they're not substantive. They're not like a solid brick of concrete, even though concrete's just space as well, but you know what I mean. So this teaching about emptiness is very, very important to attain. When you practice the way of perfection of wisdom, you attain that all the five skandhas are actually empty. Attaining this view saves us from all suffering and distress. Because see, you recognize the insubstantiability of this, but that doesn't help you when you're clung on to a family member that's passing or you're having a sickness problem. This is just part of the process of waking up, that you're letting this stuff come and go. But I want to bring up, then after I read that, I wrote a whole nother 4 or 5 pages of how I was looking at this cup and what the Holy Son of God did to make the Garden of Eden. It squashed spaciousness inside a form, so it could experience being confined. Now picture that. It could picture being confined inside this little body and look out these eyes. It's awareness. That's what we are. Looks out these eyes, these ears, and it's experiencing living in this human world. It's experiencing that from this little tiny confined space. So that's why it has all these varying perceptions. Okay. And everything was, oh wait, when it was awake and knew it animated these forms, it could let its thoughts and feelings come and go out of this space. It could feel it and let them come and go. But somehow, I don't know exactly what happened, but the Son of God fell in love with this virtual world that he made and didn't want to let it go. Because picture, one of my main teachings is you want to let these thoughts and feelings come and go. And that's what we didn't do in the Garden of Eden. We started grabbing onto them. And as soon as we grabbed onto and fell in love with a thought, we then believed we were stuck in this body. Now just picture what happened. what fear would occur when a spacious, vast, spacious being, God being, gets trapped inside of a body. It came to me when I was picturing this, that picture, if you're trapped inside this body, guess what? I picture what I'd be doing. I'd be knocking from the inside of this body. Oh, let me out. I want out. Oh, woo, let me out. Oh, I'm upset. I'm upset. I'm anxious. I'm panicked. I can't get out. What am I? I've lost my identity. So now see, by us understanding the nature of mind and what went on, then we don't get so trapped into these emotions and feelings. But anyway, that came to me and I thought, well, wow, that's true. That is, Holy Spirit, thank you for that, for that, for that observation, because then picture we're trapped. Our awareness became ordinary awareness, and the mind, the God mind, seemed to split. Then that's what Jesus teaches in A Course in Miracles. It seemed to split into two parts: egoic mind, and then there's the God mind. So we then fell asleep and believe we're this egoic mind, and we're trapped inside, that we're a body. We're trapped. We don't know. We feel that we're not a body, but anyway. So what helped me was to picture then this as a skull or a cup that's holding orange juice. Well, if we break the cup, the orange juice can fall out, right? Well, you can crack open the body and unfold the bubble. Released. That's what we're practicing doing. Go. But when we're not let go and we confine the thought or feeling inside the cup, we give suffering a place to live. That really helped me. We gave suffering a place to abide. Another way to also, they say, a place to stay. We gave it a home, right? We gave it a home, somewhere the hell to stay. Suffering. Whoa. So we just let go. That's what's so important about this: letting go, letting come and go. Now that's number one. Let's see, page 2. Let's see what else came to me. And then you start to feel how you feel constricted, tight, nervous. When you start to zero in on something, like somebody at work upsets you, says something stupid, and we jump right on that. So then just picture then how you just kind of lean in on that, you're focused on it. Then we're constricting, we're getting all tied up in this cup, this skull. We're no longer spacious. We're all caught up. And then picture what happens. We start gluing thoughts together to make sentences and paragraphs identifying what the hell those people have done to us and how I'm going to say this to them, etc. So we make up paragraphs and stories, and then picture we're in the cup, we're in the skull, we're wallering with it then, right? Waller, we're just wallering. Boy, this helped me so much, because then I go, no, you have control of your mind. You have free will. You can choose again. But the biggest deal is to be aware of what you're feeling and thinking, and have your journal and you log it, because then on those people that irritate you at work or wherever, or family members or wherever, grocery store, driving people, you practice, I love you, I love you, I love you. I gotta keep going here. I mean, but feeling constricted. God, now who the heck wouldn't the Son of God feel constricted because we damn jammed ourselves into a little tiny ass body? I mean, picture, we did it. Ha! Oh man, that's just wild, because we're as spacious as beyond all the galaxies. Oh man, that really helped me. Anyway, so we're recognizing nature of mind. And so in that nature, so So then because we feel we are lost in the egoic mind, that became two-ness. Before, we didn't have two-ness. We were there just seeing, just hearing, just tasting, touching. We knew we were spirit, this vast spaciousness, letting things come and go as we were living inside this confined space, looking out and having fun, playing with the toys, went in a tree, went in a snail, went in whatever, the grass. We just were going around all the forms, having fun. But then when we fell in love, we forgot what we were, and then the thinking mind occurred. That's when ego started up. Now, before this, there was no thinking mind. It was just being, B-E-I-N-G. And I always had trouble with that word. What the hell is being? I didn't feel that. Well, that's why I'm talking to you about just lean back, rest, relax, and just be in that pillow, that down pillow. And see that view of clear light space. But anyway, we were being, but after we got attached to some form, then came two-ness, good, bad, up, down, space and time, all the two-ness started. And then attachment and aversion, where I want it, let's say I want it, I like it, get it that. So it's called attachment and aversion, because see, you're becoming aware of what we're doing here. Mind, we started having a thinking mind. It's called ordinary mind in Buddhism. And the Course calls it egoic mind. Jesus talks about this in silent. It doesn't have to do anything. It's ego, thoughts and feelings of judgment, labeling thoughts. So which would allow me to let go of being love ego. Now, Barbie's asked me about this before, and it came up to me. And it's true, Barbie, because I'd never had this perspective. We want to love the ego. We want to tell him, I love you. I love you. I love you. I love you. I accept you the way you are. I accept you the way you are. I got a whole bunch of, I got a whole new thing here. I wrote, uh, I love you. And then you put in about the body. I love you, body. The mind, I love you, mind. The spirit, I love you, spirit. Tell God, I love you, God. All the sentient beings, I love you, I love you. You tell all the sentient beings, that means all the things that are alive that seem to be animated with this clear light, snails, all the stuff, frogs. I love you, I love you. And I wish you well. I wish you happiness, peace, safety. Then you say to yourself, you put your word in there. You say, oh, I wish Angela peace, safety, happiness, wellness, because you're giving yourself loving kindness and you're giving all the people loving kindness, but you're giving ego loving kindness because we've kept the ego separate. But picture when we were awake and knew what the hell we were doing. Well, there wasn't any ego yet then. But now that we know we're God, we love everything equally, in equanimity equally. So God, ego is been seen, and it's like the Course of Miracles says, as the body is a symbol of it. But I love ego. I love you, ego. Because now picture, ego's been living inside this mind, this body, trapped. It's been trapped. His real essence, his real nature's God mind too, is God. But he's been confined to this crap. We created ego. We made ego, we created him, trapped him inside this body, and and that ego we think is us. We think ego mind's us, the ordinary mind. And we're awakening to that we're this bigger God mind, that we made this smaller, confined, teeny tiny ego mind with teeny tiny thoughts of judgment and labeling good and bad. But I'm going to read what I came up with here. Oh, by you recognizing ego mind, you're helping all beings because we're all one mind. I'm going to just read here some stuff. By labeling your mind as bad, ego thinks you hate him and are trying to get rid of him. And see, I was and trying to get rid of a body, being attached to bodies, that I was a body. It was an unconscious judgment that I'm trying to get rid of something. Well, that's not what we're trying to do here. We love it when we're just being with it. We're letting it be just as it is without changing it, now granted, in mind training, we're changing how we think, how we choose to think about everything, but we're accepting things how they are. Ego thinks you hate him or trying to get rid of him when we label the mind as bad. That's a bad thought, that's a good thought. So really kind of ego, picture if you were ego inside this mind, it's like a roller coaster. You're thinking bad thoughts, good thoughts. It's just like up and down like a roller coaster. Bless his heart. I now have empathy for ego and compassion. He's been living in fear. We're going to kill him. We're trying to kill him, trying to get rid of him. But now I never tried to kill ego, but I never realized the nuance of to love it unconditionally, but yet still set boundaries, not put my body in harm's way. But I'm going to keep reading what came to me. Ego takes this that you want to kill him and do not accept him as he is. Stop and recognize how your mind works and set yourself free from habitual habits and conditioning to let your thoughts and feelings come and go and just be. Rest in the down pillow of God's presence. Repeatedly say to ego, I love you, I love you. I created you. I do not want to kill you. Repeatedly say to ego, I love you just the way you are. Just be as you are. You don't need to change. I welcome all your thoughts and feelings. Because see, aversion is when we're picking and choosing which thoughts we want to that we're letting them all come and go. I welcome all your thoughts and feelings. Then we choose what we will respond to. It's not the cards you're dealt, but that matters. It's how you play the hand. So we're welcoming all these thoughts and feelings the ego has, but we're choosing, because we got free will, we can choose how to respond. And here's why I talk about that. Do that self-love of your body, mind, spirit, and ego instead of self-hate for bad things you've done. Because see, that's part of the inventory list, remember? And it happens in this death. When death occurs of this form, I've experienced it before death, where your whole life passes before you. And it passes before you so you can practice advanced forgiveness, seeing all these events and images and people as God. I love you, all of it, all of it, all of it, you say to all these beings, because you're letting go. You're letting go of all these things that seem to have happened in this lifetime. So then in this bardo of death, when you take your last breath, then the body decays, but then there's these winds, there's thoughts and feelings that pass in this mental mind. And if we've allowed ourselves to be trained about letting thoughts come and go, recognizing moonlight, recognizing clear light, then we're less drawn off to attach to these wild, bizarre thoughts and feelings that monkey mind's been presenting in this whole lifetime, right? Become mindful when you're labeling ego, thoughts, feelings as good and bad. I want, I do not want. This causes ego to think of you as unpredictable. which causes, I'm repeating this, ego to be concerned about what you will do about him. It causes a roller coaster effect in your mind. What we're doing, we're allowing and accepting thoughts, feelings, perception, impulses, and forms. We're cultivating allowing. Is Terry needing to go or not? Oh, I love you, Terry. Thanks for coming out, honey. Thank you. Love you. Thank you. And then here's one. Here, I think I got a couple more of these. Tell ego, I'm setting you free from being confined in this body, in this skull, so you can experience life without feeling like you're confined in the body or confined in a skull or confined in a cup, right? Then breathe, relax, smile, and visualize that your skin, this shell we got here, it's a shell. It can be a prison because you're looking at it from the inside. It's a shell. It can be a prison. You're picturing that light, that's your great ray light, your chakra light. That light's from the center of you radiating out all these cells to radiate out into the world. You're relaxing into that. Lean back and give your mind some space between egoic thoughts and its spacious nature. Let's see, that's 3A. Let's see what number 4. Let's see, I'm getting number 4 here. Leave things as they are. It's called leave it as it is. Means catch your mind when you're wanting to fabricate, change, manipulate something. Now, there's times when you're doing something, you might want to make a change, but we're talking being aware in general. And that makes you become aware when you're wanting to get rid of something instead of just letting something come and go. It's a nuance. It's a talent. Over and over, let go and let be. Leave things as they are without manipulating, fabricating, labeling. Take 3 deep breaths in and out. Remember, on that in breath, 2 inches below the navel, and on the exhale breath, go ah, ah. And you do that 3 times in a row, all times during the day, whenever you feel anxious, and that relaxes the form. It relaxes the mind. Recognize it is your awakened awareness. See, you're awakening this ordinary egoic awareness from two-ness to this spaciousness. And when you do that, you're loosening your grip, your tight grip that's on thoughts, feelings, etc. Let go means let come and go, just be. Set up a daily practice that includes meditation, contemplating truths, and integrating the truths into your daily life. So I feel a big relief that I feel like I release the body, my body more. But because this is just this lifetime of thought that I'm a body, this is a process. This is a healing, a relaxation that's happening. Can be slowly happening, or it can go quick, depends on you. But I feel less addicted because I'm becoming aware of what I've done with how my mind acts and works. Then I'm feeling like I'm in control. I'm not panicked and nervous like I was about all this. It's beautiful. Like Jesus says, this is a course in mind training. We're remembering what we are. Now, thank you for coming out tonight. Holy Lynn, Holy God Lynn, Holy God Terry, Holy God Barbie, Holy God Glenda, Holy God Angela, Holy God Debbie, Holy God Leon, Holy God everybody that's listening to this from afar, all Holy God, all sentient beings in all the 6 realms. Thank you. Enlightened beings, ascended masters, Jesus, Buddha, Holy Spirit, for helping us. Thank you. Any thoughts or comments before I stop the recording? People love hearing what anybody got any thoughts or comments? Nothing? Angela, anyone? Debbie, Leon? Yeah, I get it. Oh my. You see, I love it. I just take that breath and go, ah, just relax, relax. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, I'm gonna stop the recording.